cycle of a heavenly man. For instance, in the present earth chain which concerns us the most nearly, the fourth globe is of paramount interest, inasmuch as it is the physical plane vehicle for a heavenly man in dense subjective incarnation. Yet it must not be forgotten that, though manifesting thus objectively, he embodies in totality the chain and the scheme. The idea may be clarified for the student if it is stated that a scheme, in its totality, corresponds to the monad, or to the monadic auric egg, in connection with the human being and his 49 cycles. A chain, 13,937. Chain, a series of 7 globes, or worlds which form the field of evolution during the planetary cycle, or manvantara. The first 3 of these globes, generally known as A, B and C, form a descending arc, the densest physical matter of the descent, being reached in the 4th globe, D, of which our Earth is an instance. The 5th globe, E, on the ascending arc, correspondence to C on the descending arc, usually belongs to the astral plane, and the 6th and 7th F and G, correspondence to B and A on the descending arc, to the Rupa and Arupa levels of the mental plane. These therefore are invisible to ordinary sight. 37 in its totality corresponds to the body egoic of a human being, to the causal body with its 7 great cycles mentioned elsewhere in these pages, and hinted at in certain occult books. A globe, with its 7 races, corresponds to a particular series of incarnations in connection with the man, incarnate or discarnate, for all globes are not on physical levels. A physical globe, in the chain, corresponds to a particular physical incarnation of a man. The planetary logos takes physical form in his planet and is its life and works out his purposes. A root race, simply, is analogous to the 7 parts, as Shakespeare phrases it, as played by the midget, man. In the root race, a heavenly man is simply living out his life, working through some experience in the great work of developing buddhi, or corporate action, for buddhi is the unifying principle of groups, and, in the process of experiencing and developing, he sweeps into his vibratory capacity all the cells in his body. In the case of a human being, the cells in his body, the material cells, are involutionary lives, animated by the 3rd logos, cooperating with the 2nd logos. In the case of a planetary logos, the cells in his body are evolutionary lives, deva and human units, animated by the life of the 2nd logos, cooperating with the 1st logos, and utilizing the activities of the 3rd logos for purposes of manifesting. Having pointed out these things, the place the Earth chain and globe play in the evolution of the planetary logos of the Earth scheme should be clearer to the student. The wheel turns, and in its turning sweeps into objectivity one of its 7 globes, or brings into manifestation on the physical plane that great entity whose life animates the whole scheme. It must be borne in mind that just as man is handicapped by his physical body, and finds himself unable to express through it the entire content of his egoic consciousness, so a heavenly man, when taking to himself a dense physical vehicle in any particular chain, is also handicapped, and is unable to express in perfection on the globe the full beauty of his life or the splendor of his manifesting consciousness. It might here be stated in connection with the planetary logos of our scheme that A. He is in physical incarnation. B. He is midway through his career upon the cosmic path of initiation, and consequently is to take the 4th initiation in this chain. Well may this globe, therefore, be considered the globe of sorrow and of pain, for through it our planetary logos is undergoing that which the mystic calls the crucifixion. C. The cells in his body, those cells through which he feels, and senses, and experiences, are, in this world period, rent by pain and suffering, for his is the consciousness at the center of the body, and theirs is the capacity to suffer, so that by means of them he may learn the meaning of systemic dispassion, be dissociated from all forms, and material substance, and upon the cross of matter eventually find liberation and the freedom of the spirit. The same equally can be predicated of a solar logos with the following interesting sequence carefully borne in mind. The solar logos has for objective 9 initiations, the third cosmic initiation being his goal. Our planetary logos has for objective 7 initiations, the second cosmic initiation being his goal. Man has for objective 5 initiations, the first cosmic initiation being his goal. Chart VII Earth scheme number 4. If we link this up with that earlier imparted concerning initiation, and the Sun Sirius, we will have a clue to the triple cosmic path. B. The fourth kingdom and the hierarchy of the planet. Certain facts have already been grasped and realized by the average occult student who has been pondering this teaching with care. He is aware that the juncture of spirit, matter and mind, or manas, was effected during the third root race, and that the definitely human family became present upon earth from that date. He knows that this was brought about by the coming, in bodily presence, of certain great entities, and he has learned that these entities came from the Venusian chain, that they achieved the necessary juncture, undertook the government of the planet, founded the occult hierarchy, and that though some remain with the chain, the remainder have returned to their originating source. This in many ways sums up the totality of the present knowledge. Let us briefly enlarge upon it, correct certain erroneous interpretations, and ascertain one or two new facts. We might tabulate these as follows. First, it should be borne in mind by the occult student that a. This advent signalized the taking of a physical vehicle by the planetary logos, and was literally the coming of the avatar. B. That this advent was brought about by a definite systemic alignment which involved the Venus scheme of the system, the Venus chain of the Earth scheme, the Venus globe of the Earth chain. See that the planetary logos did not come from the Venus scheme, but from the Venus chain of his own scheme, the Earth scheme. Owing to systemic alignment, logoic kundalini could flow through a certain triangle of which 2 points were Venus and the Earth. This caused an acceleration of vibration, and enabled the heavenly man of our scheme to take a minor initiation, and to set about his preparations for a major initiation. Next, it should also be remembered that in considering this matter we must be careful to view it not only as it affects our own globe, and its present humanity, but from the systemic and cosmic point of view, or from the angle of its importance to a planetary logos, and a solar logos. Hence it is a fact that this event was not only the result of the taking of a minor initiation by our Earth logos, but in the Venus scheme it was signalized by the taking of a major initiation by the Venusian planetary logos on his fifth chain. In connection with the solar logos it followed upon the stimulation of one of his centers, and from the geometrical progression of the fire through the earlier mentioned triangle. It has been stated that 104 Kumaras came from Venus to the Earth. Literally the figure is 105, when the synthesizing unit, the Lord of the world himself, is counted as one. There remain still with him the 3 Buddhas of activity. I would call attention to the dual significance of that name, Buddha of activity, bearing out, as it does, the reality of the fact that entities at their stage of evolution are active love, wisdom, and embody in themselves the 2 aspects. The 3 Buddhas of activity have a correspondence to the 3 persons of the Trinity. These entities are divided into 3 groups of 35 each, and in themselves embody the 3 major centers of the planetary logos, those 3 groups which we know as the 3 departments, for it should be emphasized that each department forms a center. A. The head center. The ruling department. B. The heart center. The teaching department. C. The throat center. The Mahakoans department. This center synthesizes the lesser 4, just as the third ray synthesizes the minor 4. These Kumaras, or their present substitutes, can also be divided into the 7 groups, which correspond to the 7 rays, and are in themselves the life of the center for which they stand. 15, therefore, of these entities, again the 10 and the 5, form a center in the body of the planetary logos, and the 3 chimeras about whom we are told, who in themselves are 5-fold, making the 15, are the edifying lives of the particular center which is involved in the coming initiation of the heavenly man, and to which the human units at this time, and during this greater cycle, belong. Another fact that should be noted about these great beings is, that when viewed in their 7 groups, they form a. Focal points for the force, or influence emanating from the other solar centers, or schemes. B. The 7 divisions of the occult hierarchy. They exist, as does the heavenly man himself, in etheric matter, and are literally great wheels, or centers of living fire, monasic and electric fire. They vitalize the body of the heavenly man, and hold all together as an objective whole. They make a planetary triangle within the chain, and each of them vitalizes one globe. It is not permitted at this stage to state, for exoteric publication, which ray, or logoic emanation is embodied by our planetary logos. Which center in the solar system is called the Earth scheme. Which scheme is our polar opposite, or which heavenly man is most closely allied to ours. Which particular center in the body of the planetary logos he is at present endeavoring to vitalize. These points are, as may be inferred, too dangerous to impart, and those students whose intuition suffices to attain the information will see for themselves the necessity for silence. See a prophecy. We might now, prior to continuing with our subject, name the different chains of the Earth scheme. We must bear carefully in mind the fact that these are simply names, affixed to the chains and globes for the sake of clarity. As this subject is more widely studied, it will inevitably be found advisable to call the chains by their numbers, and to drop the names as at present used. 1. Neptune. 2. Venus. 3. Saturn. 4. Earth. 5. Mercury. 6. Mars. 7. Jupiter. It is necessary here to take the opportunity to sound a note of warning to students in connection with the charts, which have been inserted in the treatise. They depict only one cycle in logoic evolution, and cover only the present greater period in the working out of which we are engaged. They might be roughly described as embracing that period in the system which began for us in the middle of the 3rd root race of this round and continues until the period called the Judgment, in the coming 5th round. When that time comes, our planetary logos will have attained the initiation, which is his present goal. The 5th round of the Venusian scheme will be closing, and the Venus scheme will begin to pass into obscuration, preparatory to transferring her life to the synthesizing planet with which she is connected. Mercury will be reaching the apotheosis of achievement, and with Mars and the Earth, will form a systemic triangle. We are speaking here of schemes and not of chains. We must recognize another triangle within the Earth scheme,